Hey everybody, I thought I would make a quick video here. Now, I've written down a few comments and questions over the past few weeks, and I thought this might be just a good time to answer some questions, maybe some questions you have been wondering about yourself. But first of all, people are wondering about an Oak Island video, and a video I promised on the symbolic meaning of the Giza Plateau, and those are still under works. The Giza Pyramid symbolic meaning video is a lot closer to being done than the Oak Island video. Now, when I find something I think is pretty interesting and meaningful, sometimes I like to go back channels and try to debunk what I found, just to convince myself what I found is right. So the Oak Island story has been a bumpy ride, and obviously this story is not written in any book, so you have to connect dots. And that is not just a simple process. And the harder a mystery is, the more I like it. So I am taking my time with that one, and I need to present it in a way which you will understand it with some evidence. So that video is still coming, but I've had some, I just say a bumpy ride with that one. That's all I'll say. But the pyramid video, that one is much closer to being done, and for sure in the next few weeks that one will be coming out. And it's kind of hard. I have lived now back in Vegas for a couple years now, and I'm finding more and more reasons not to be home. And I'm sure you all understand that. The temperature's getting up into the 70s now. Winter is pretty much ending, and I don't want to be sitting in my place inside. I'm sure you all understand that. But I've got a lot of stuff in the works, and it's just a matter of finishing them and spending the proper time with them. And I've had a couple questions here. Music videos. I didn't subscribe to you for music videos. I subscribed to you for pyramid videos. I believe that was the comment or something like that. I know, let me apologize. I know I've only put out 750 history videos. I apologize for being such a slacker and presenting the talents of people I spend time with and like and admire. I'm sorry. I apologize for that. But another question is, what is your angle? Why are you putting out these videos? And it's like, that is the reason why people have to put out history videos or videos on ancient text or symbolism or stuff like that. You got to be proving something. Or on ancient religion, you got to have an angle. You got to be proving something. Well, if you read my channel description, it says, a look at ancient history without agenda or bias, and videos from Las Vegas. So that is my channel, and it's not going to change. And the only way I thought I would distinguish myself from anybody else is just to put any bias or agenda, just totally eliminate that, and just look at everything with a clear and open mind, yet be skeptical. Excuse me. So that is the deal with my channel, and I try to do this as anonymously as possible. Just a clear look at the evidence that the ancients are telling us, and that's all I do, is just tell you what I found. Nothing more, nothing less. Now, I've had a few questions on specific things. The Bosnian pyramids. Do I think those are actual pyramids? And that is an interesting subject. My views have kind of swung on this. At first, at one time I thought it was a 95% chance that yes, those are ancient structures, and now I hear more and more, and I'm beginning to be very skeptical, yet some things I can't ignore. So that is one that I'm just totally kind of swing back and forth on, and I can't give you a definite answer if those are real or just the story on those is kind of being fabricated, and I don't know really who to listen to. So that is one that I'm really having great difficulty in kind of coming to grips with, is the Bosnian pyramids. If you have any comments on that, you can leave it below. I had one question. Do you think the lost tribe of Israel were in the United States? And as far as people being in what we call the United States now, a long time ago, I don't dismiss anything anymore. The more I look at ancient sea travel, it was prevalent. And that's all I'll say about that. And I'm going to make a few videos on some sites in the northeast of the United States today. And those are videos that I got coming up. And a connection to people across the sea. Atlantis. What is your thoughts on Atlantis? I believe the name Atlantis, people kind of are stuck with that name, Atlantis. They think this place was actually called Atlantis. And I have no problem believing the tales of Atlantis coming from Plato. And there are a few others who mention it. But I don't think it was ever called Atlantis. I think the way people wrote back then, it was just, Atlantis was just the very symbolic name that Plato gave it. And maybe some others before him that gave the story to Solon gave it. But I believe that was just a way of referring to a high-tech civilization or an advanced civilization that lived out on the islands and the oceans and the seas, and I believe the one world ocean was called the Atlantic back in ancient times. So this was just a symbolic way of calling it Atlantis. Let's see here. Are you dating anybody? Yes, there are a couple pharaohs of the early intermediate period that I am trying to figure out when exactly they ruled. So I'm actually dating a couple people. Going on here. Now, finally, on some of my Shroud videos, I've had the question, are you an atheist? Or why are you putting out these videos? It's simple. I'm just telling you what the ancients were telling you about what we know today as the Shroud of Turin. Period. And as far as being an atheist, or what I call myself, I don't know what I am. This is my views on church, religion, spirituality. When I was young, I went to church. As a young adult, I took my kids to church, but I was never a real spiritual person. Now today, I don't go to church, and I don't remember the last time I've been to church, but I am a spiritual person today. And my mom on Christmas Eve said, hey, you want to go to church with her and her husband? And I thought that was interesting, since all I have read and researched over the past years. I thought, sure. I said, okay, Mom, I will. But I just might stand up and ask a few questions. And she paused and said, no, okay, maybe next year. So, and I could just hear the frustration. You know, she said, you know, you read the entire Bible and know it by heart, yet you won't go to church. And I could just hear her frustration and thinking that was just weird. And I just said, Mom, you know what I think is more weird? Is that you go to church and you have never read the Bible. So, and then that's when the conversation ended. And I love my mother. We have some great talks. But that is my views on religion. I am a spiritual person today, and I don't go to church. And I think I have no problem with church. I think the only thing I have a problem with is the business of religion today, and I think we can all kind of agree with that to a certain extent. But what I have found about ancient religion and read about the texts coming from Egypt and the early days of the Bible, I just find it fascinating. And the more I looked into it, the more fascinating I found it. That's all I'll say on that. But if you are frustrated when I upload a music video, I have tons of playlists on my channels, and I think some of the music that I present, especially from Dendel, is some pretty good stuff in case you have never checked it out. But Randall Carlson, Graham Hancock, Peru, Turkey, I've got all sorts of ancient America. This is an important one because these are sites that are very important with pyramids and ancient cities, just as we find in Egypt and Peru, sitting right in America today in the ancient United States. So that is an important playlist. So please check it out. And I'm going to continue uploading some ancient history videos, but those videos are going to get more specific and a little better quality. Some videos I make, I present it in, I know, kind of a bad fashion. I'm not a public speaker. I've just gotten comfortable with doing this actually in the past year after doing it for about 4 or 5 years. And I was telling somebody last night, my friend Endel, that I'm surprised people even listen to me babble. And this video here, the tunnels and chambers under the Sphinx, I was telling her last night that this video is getting watched about 500 times an hour. And this is a video from last year. And that actually makes me feel a little uncomfortable, but I feel flattered that people are taking such interest. And check it out if you want. But I thought I would just talk a little bit about my channel, some questions, some specific questions. And I hope you all have a very nice day.